Have you ever noticed something strange? Some people can talk confidently with strangers, they can laugh with friends, they can even speak in public, but the moment relatives arrive, their personality changes. They become quiet, awkward, careful with every word. They avoid eye contact. They stay on their phone. Sometimes they even hide in another room. Why does this happen? Psychology says this kind of shyness is deeper than normal social anxiety because relatives are not just people. They are emotional mirrors, and mirrors can feel dangerous. According to psychologists, human beings fear judgment most from people connected to their identity. Relatives know your history, your childhood mistakes, your family status, your failures. This creates something called evaluation anxiety. The brain feels constantly watched and mentally examined. Even simple questions start feeling stressful. What are you doing these days? When will you marry? How much do you earn? To others, these sound normal, but to a shy person, they feel like hidden tests. The famous psychologist Alfred Adler believed that many social fears come from feelings of inferiority developed during childhood. A child who is constantly compared with cousins or siblings may grow into an adult who feels small around relatives. The body remembers old emotional pain. So even years later, the nervous system reacts automatically. Heart rate increases, hands shake, thoughts become confused.
The person is not weak. Their brain is entering protection mode. Research in social psychology shows that familiar groups often create stronger anxiety than strangers because family networks carry expectations, reputation, and comparison. Another reason is fear of exposure. With strangers, people can create a new image, but relatives already know the old version of them. The insecure child, the quiet teenager, the person who once failed. This traps many people psychologically. They feel frozen in an old identity. That is why some adults suddenly become childish around family gatherings. Their subconscious mind returns to old emotional roles. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life." Many shy people around relatives do not realize that their fear is connected to old emotional memories. Maybe they were mocked during childhood, ignored during conversations, compared with successful cousins, or constantly criticized for small mistakes. Over time, the brain learns one dangerous belief: being around relatives is emotionally unsafe. So the person starts avoiding interaction, not because they hate family, but because their nervous system associates relatives with stress. Psychologists also talk about something called self-focused attention. This happens when anxious people become extremely aware of themselves. Instead of enjoying conversation, their brain monitors everything. How am I standing? Did I sound stupid? Why did I say that? Do they think I'm unsuccessful? This mental overthinking drains confidence. The person becomes silent because their mind is too busy surviving socially. Interestingly, many shy people are highly intelligent and emotionally sensitive. Studies on shyness show that sensitive individuals process social situations more deeply and react strongly to criticism or rejection.
That sensitivity becomes exhausting during family gatherings where multiple conversations, judgments, and comparisons happen at once. In many cultures, relatives also represent social pressure. People feel expected to achieve certain milestones by certain ages: career, marriage, money, children, success. When someone feels behind in life, meeting relatives can trigger shame, and shame often disguises itself as shyness. Some people even rehearse conversations before entering family events. Others avoid answering calls from relatives completely. Some pretend to be busy just to escape interaction. Psychology calls this avoidance behavior. It gives temporary relief, but over time it increases anxiety even more, because the brain never gets a chance to learn that interaction may actually be safe. There is also another hidden factor: the desire for approval. Humans naturally seek acceptance from their tribe, and family is the oldest tribe humans know. When approval feels uncertain, anxiety increases. The person becomes careful, quiet, and emotionally guarded. Research connected to sociotropy and shyness shows that people who strongly depend on social approval often experience higher discomfort in family and interpersonal situations. But here is the important truth: shyness around relatives is not always a personality flaw. Sometimes it is emotional self-protection created by years of silent experiences. And healing begins when people stop blaming themselves for it. Psychologists suggest several ways to reduce this fear. First, stop trying to perform perfection. Most anxiety comes from trying to appear impressive. Real confidence grows when people allow themselves to be ordinary. Second, focus attention outward. Ask questions. Listen carefully. Observe others instead of monitoring yourself constantly.
Third, understand your emotional history. Ask yourself, when did I first start feeling small around relatives? That question alone can reveal hidden childhood memories. And finally, remember this: your worth is not decided at a family gathering. Not by comparisons, not by achievements, not by relatives' opinions. The philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once said, "The most painful state of being is remembering the future." Many shy people around relatives are not afraid of the present moment. They are afraid of imagined judgment, imagined embarrassment, imagined rejection. But most of those fears never truly happen. And even when they do not define a person's value. Because confidence is not becoming the loudest person in the room. Sometimes confidence is simply staying present without running away from yourself.